This tutorial video describes OfferingTree's new appointment feature. To access this feature, log into the back end of your site and then click on Offerings to start. And you'll notice that there's a new tab now called Appointments. If you'd like to set up a new offering that allows for individual booking by a client or a student, you can edit an existing offering or you can create a new one. So in this case, I'll create a new offering. I'll call this Essentials Coaching. I'll give it a description. And you'll see this box that says Enable Appointments. When I click on this box, I'll get a new pop-up and it asks me to set up my schedule for this new appointment. So this schedule refers to any offerings that I have for which I enable bookings. So let's say that I want to be able to allow for bookings for coaching sessions on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that actually my availability on Monday is more limited. So I only have availability from 9 until 11 a.m. And then I have some availability in the afternoon, in which case I can click the plus button and I'm available again from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. So in this way you can set up your availability schedule by sliding on certain dates when you're available and then adding times or removing times as needed. You can also set an end date for this particular schedule. So if I know that my schedule changes starting on June 1st, then I can set an end date and it says, are you sure you want the schedule to end? I can click yes, and it'll automatically end this schedule on that date. So now I can hit done. And it brings me up to the appointment information for this new coaching session that I created. So I'll set a price for this. The duration I'll set 45 minutes. I can add setup or cleanup time. So this is the amount of time that you need before your appointment starts or afterwards if you need some cleanup time. And it will add that amount of time to the front end and the back end so that you won't be overbooked or overscheduled. Now I need to set an address. Notice also that I can set the time zone, and I can also indicate that this is an online appointment. So maybe it's a video conference or a phone call. So I could click that and set it as an online appointment, or I can also accept online payments. And if I click that, you'll see all of the standard options that show up for any other event or event series. Now I can go ahead and click done. And when I hit create, it'll ask me if I'd like to schedule this new offering, but in this case, all I wanted to do was have it be appointment booking. So I'm going to go ahead and hit no. But if I go to my website, you'll see now that on the home page there's this book an appointment button. It automatically shows up because I've enabled appointments. Clicking on this button, you'll now see Essentials Coaching, and if I click Book Now, you'll see that it lists the Monday, Wednesday, Friday that I had set up, and it also lists the times. So from 9:45 going on, and in this case I can schedule a time, and let's say somebody books a time on the 25th, and notice that it starts at 9. In this case, on the 22nd, someone's already taken that 9 o'clock slot, and so that means that the next availability doesn't show up until 9:45. And you'll also notice that the system spaces out the appointment times in half-hour increments, so that's the default. So if I go to Monday, and let's say somebody schedules a time, when I go back to look at the bookings, you'll see that the times now have changed since somebody booked that 9 a.m. slot. So my next available slot is at 9:45 a.m. And since I did not set a cleanup time or a setup time, it means there's no in-between time between the appointments. Now, if you wanted to give yourself a buffer, then you would simply add setup or cleanup time to give yourself a buffer between appointments. Now, the other thing that's important to note is that the availability that you set for your schedule, so if I go back to look at the schedule that I set, then it actually applies to any of the offerings for which you've enabled appointments. So this is a global schedule. So let's say you have individual bookings for coaching, and maybe you have some individual sessions for some yoga training or yoga mentorship. In that case, this global schedule that you've set up here applies to all of the different offerings for which you've enabled appointments. So let's say that I know now that I want to schedule a day off, or maybe I'm taking a vacation. You'll see that on the bottom of this Edit Your Availability page, it says View Personal Time Off. If I click that, it pulls up a page that lets me see all of the times for which I'm not available. So let's say that next Wednesday, I know that I'm unavailable for a doctor's appointment. So in this case, I can set next Wednesday, the 27th, and I'm not available from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. because this is an out-of-town doctor's appointment that's going to require travel. So now I set that exception up. You'll see it shows that on Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm no longer available. And what happens is now if I go back to the site, and let's say I'm a client or a student, I'm looking for availability, the 27th is no longer an option because I've scheduled that day off. So the system will automatically remove availability when you set personal time off. Now let's say that you want to change your entire schedule rather than taking a week off or a couple days off. In that case, you actually want to set up a different schedule. And so in this case, what I can do is I can add a future schedule. So if I know that starting in June, as I said before, I have a whole new set of availability because spring is ending and summer is just beginning, and I know that my schedule is changing. In this case, I'm now only available on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I would set that up as a new schedule, and I could set the end date for this as well. So let's say that this one ends starting in the fall, starting the end of August, and confirm that yes, this has an end date, and I go ahead and hit done. Now what you'll see is if I go to look at my schedule, when I move into the summer, starting in June, and we'll look at July, for example, my availability has changed to Tuesdays and Thursdays. So this is how you can schedule multiple different availabilities, and it's a little bit different than the personal time off, which is meant to be used if you're taking a vacation, or you know you're going to be out of the office on a certain day, or you're just not available for whatever reason. So that will let your clients know, and it'll automatically update your availability on your site so that nobody can book you at that time. We hope that you find this new feature useful, and we look forward to seeing all that you have to offer.